Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up.
Good Monday morning and welcome to Run It Back right here on FanDuel TV. We are coming at you guys from basically everywhere. So the rundown goes, Lou Will, Chandler P still in LA on their way to Vegas later today. Shams coming at us from his trade deadline lair, which I'm excited for. Because what do we have, 4 days left, Shams? You don't look stressed yet at all. I like this for you. I'm already in Las Vegas where the mayhem has begun, and we get things kicked off right away with some bad news. We're kind of waiting to see what the deal was with Joel Embiid, Shams, and then you reported over the weekend that he is going to have a procedure. Tell us more about that.
Joel Embiid has a meniscus tear in his left knee. He had multiple evaluations, doctoral consultations. He went through decision-making on whether you rest and rehab this meniscus injury. It's a displaced flap of the meniscus. That's a type of tear. But he decided to undergo surgery very soon. I'm told that the hope is that Embiid misses 1 to 2 months. That's the best case minimum scenario, and that would dictate a potential return late in the season. Only the severity of the tear, the procedure itself will determine exactly how long he's going to be out. If a full repair is needed in surgery, Michelle, that's going to be a significantly longer recovery time period than just 1 to 2 months. And this is absolutely brutal for the Sixers because now Joel Embiid will no longer be eligible for MVP, but even beyond that, the way he was performing this year, he was on pace to be an MVP. He was on pace to be the scoring title yet again this season. His season is now in jeopardy. We know all along this year, I've said it, Joel Embiid has only been focused on wanting to win a championship, being healthy for when it matters most, and that's the playoffs. And he's been managing his body. The Sixers have been managing his body for that. And for it to fail on him now, it's obviously a devastating time for him and the Sixers. They will have a chance. If Joel Embiid's able to make it back late this season, they're going to have a chance. They won't know until the doctors go in there, perform that surgery, and see exactly how long Joel Embiid will miss. But at minimum, 1 to 2 months.
Yeah, this seems like pretty bad news, Chandler. Lou, Chandler, when you heard it, what did you think?
Honestly, sad. I mean, this guy's been having such a great year. He's had such big things happen to him this summer, getting married, being fully healthy, coming off an MVP season, and then doing it again. Like Shams just said, the guy's averaging 35.3 points a game, was looking at his, another scoring title, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and the team needs him, obviously, majorly, right? And their chances of winning and being a contender depend on Joel Embiid being healthy. So I love the idea that he's doing it now because that does give him a chance to heal and to possibly make a comeback here at the postseason and be one of those 7-8 seeds and then kind of be fully healthy going into the playoffs. But this is just a devastating blow kind of all around. He's like Shams said, he's not going to win MVP now. He's not going to be eligible for any of these all NBA awards, but that's not what is important to Joel. Now his team is going to struggle. His team is going to fall in the rankings. And now let's be honest, they're probably not a contender without him. So it's just a real shitty situation and just kind of a sad feeling for him just because he was dominating and playing at such a high level, was the MVP front runner. Now he's probably got zero chance to win the MVP.
Yeah, I think that one's gone, Lou. Just feels like some teams or some players just have a bad run of luck. And this feels like what's going on with Joel Embiid. To have this kind of a season so far and basically it be over, like, what are your thoughts?
It's unfortunate. You hate to see him go down with, him having another historic season, a really good opportunity to be one of those guys that was going to be in that MVP talk and have a realistic chance of actually winning it and carrying that team to do some special things. And now that's derailed. You don't know what the nature of the beast is going to be moving forward for the 76ers. That's going to put Tyrese Maxey in a position. He's going to try to carry this team best he possibly can moving forward. Not sure if that's going to be enough with how these teams are built in the East, but definitely just unfortunate for Joel Embiid. I hope he gets healthy and gets back to the position that he was in and competing at a high level.
And the meniscus is tricky, right? Because like Shams said, if it's a full tear, then that's a shutdown for the season. That's got to fully repair. So the doctor, I don't know if Elatrasher, who's doing it, he won't see or he won't know about what's going on in there till
Hmm.
he's in there. So you kind of get put under and you wake up then finding out whether you're going to play in 2 months or 6 months. And I've had, 5 meniscus tears. I've never heard of this displaced flap. Real terminology there is a little different. I've never heard that. But it sounds like it's not fully torn. It sounds like there's just, they're going to try and go in there, stitch it back together and get him back on the court, as soon as possible. But then you also bring in the chance of that re-tearing then once he's back at it. And with his health history, everything he's been through, his size, it's risky. So I hope it's nothing serious. I hope it's just basically a cleanup, but I've never seen this kind of lingo with a meniscus.
Displaced flap. Shams, I don't imagine, I don't know what their plan was before this injury, but is there scrambling going on in the Philly front office because of the trade deadline? Are they having different plans now? Oh no.
He wasn't feeling that.
Yeah, he was not in love with that question at all. I don't know. I don't know what they were. Oh, Shams, you back? There you are. It's like, I feel like that question was innocuous.
I'm back. It definitely was.
Okay.
I'm takers for all questions. Daryl Morey, he's always going to be aggressive. He's going to want to make a move, but just the uncertainty, like Chandler said, when you go into this procedure, you literally don't know. Is this going to be something he comes back in within 2 months where you look at it early April and you have a chance before the playoffs to get ready? But then the other thing is, even if it is a 2-month return timetable, what if the Sixers at that point are in the play-in position? Do you, if you're Joel Embiid and the Sixers, do you bring him back? I think those are all fair questions. And just in totality of it, they have expiring contracts. They could have 4 or 5 first-round picks to trade come summertime. Do you waste 1 or 2 or whatever amount of them now with the uncertainty of Joel Embiid? I do think they will know exactly how long Joel Embiid will be out before Thursday's trade deadline. But, I mean, Chandler, like you said, you've had multiple meniscus tears in those procedures. If you are Joel Embiid, if you're the Sixers, if you can get it repaired, do you get it repaired now? That would obviously be punting the season. Or do you figure out, can we get him back in 2 months?
So long term, the repair is the play. You just take it out. It's actually, you can walk out of there. It's when you stitch it up, that's when you have to be extra careful. That's where you need the extra time, because you literally have to let that meniscus re-heal together and become one again. When you take it out, it's actually an easier process. It just takes a lot longer. So it kind of works both ways. The shitty part is this team is built to win now, right? Besides Tyrese Maxey, like they have these assets for the future. They have Tobias Harris, Kelly Oubre, Melt, Marcus Morris, Patrick Beverley, Batum, Covington. They're a longer team, and this team was designed to compete and win now. So I do think there'll be some sort of urgency to get him back. But at the same time, depending on where they are, what else happens in the landscape of the Eastern Conference, you see the rise of the Knicks and the Cavs. I don't think they fear them. I don't think anybody fears Milwaukee. So, yeah, I think fast forward 2 months from now and it's still Boston and everybody else, I think they try and bring him back, and I think they try to go to war against them.
Lou, did you say no, or were you talking to something else?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the Sixers, they look at this long term. You know, Joel Embiid has had knee issues before this. This has been a reoccurring thing throughout the course of his career. And so if you're talking about a team that's going to be in a play-in position, Joel Embiid just getting back, he's going to be under minute restrictions anyway. He's going to have a long road back to recovery. I don't know if they throw him in that fire to try to salvage what they can out of the season if they're in a play-in position. If this team is able to compete at a high level, maybe still get home court advantage, still have an opportunity to get out of the East, then maybe the scenarios change. But in the play-in, I think you watch this season up and get ready for the next one to make sure he's 100%.
That is such a bummer. All right, well, the MVP race is obviously now changed for good this season. So with Embiid basically done, who's your favorite, Lou?
I'm going SGA.
Still.
One of my early picks. Yeah, one of my early picks for MVP. OKC has crept into that number 1 spot. If they can maintain that, a lot of their credit is going to go to him. So he's going to be my MVP pick.
Chandler?
Yeah, it's not a bad pick. And Lou's, I got to give him his flowers. He's been on SGA from preseason training camp. I'd probably go SGA too. I mean, Jokic obviously is right there. Now I feel like he honestly, now that he sees Joel out too, he's probably thinking, all right, this is mine. Like now it's, it's me against these, this new guy SGA here coming up. So I would either go Jokic or SGA. And I love Luka, but They're in the 8th seed right now. They're only 3 games over 500. I like the numbers he puts up, but I don't think that the team's going to win enough for him to get it.
I don't know, that Brunson at plus 5,500. That would be a nice little payout, she says, as she lost money already last night.
It's a reason why it's that high.
Shut up, Lou. I want to win big. Okay, fine. Let's move on. We have more surgery news, Shams. You were like medical reporting all weekend long. Zach LaVine also having season-ending surgery. What is the latest on that?
It's been a nagging foot issue for him all year, right foot, and he himself, his agency, they elected to undergo this surgery. 4 to 6 months of recovery time. He's had a foot issue. He's had an ankle issue in that same foot. He had a grade 2 ankle sprain last month that he suffered. He was trying to make a comeback, but that foot he could not get through that pain. But this season, guys, 19.5 points per game. That's his lowest since 2017-18. We know, we've been reporting on it. Both sides have been working to figure out a trade since November. No deal happened. There were interested teams, but we kept talking about it. 3 years, $140 million left on his contract after this year. I think his market will open up in the summer. He has to get healthy, of course, but that's when you're going to see teams with cap space. If you miss out on players, you could look at a guy like Zach LaVine, and also contending teams that feel like he could be your missing piece. They'll be in play for him as well. But the Bulls, they have a lot of decisions to make now, of course. But Zach LaVine, he's been a guy that we've been talking about. Will he get traded? Now, almost certainly, this shuts the door on that.
Yeah, so, okay. So you're saying that it shuts the door on that. Does it change anything else? Because it hasn't always just been Zach LaVine when we talk Chicago. It's sort of that the 4 guys, like, do we trade all of them and blow the entire thing up? Does that change what they're planning on doing?
The biggest player of interest that the Bulls will have is Alex Caruso, because the fact that he's on a multiple-year deal, team-friendly contract in a lot of ways, that he's going to garner a lot of interest from contenders. But DeMar DeRozan is the player. They have him on an expiring deal this year. They've talked about an extension, have not been able to get a deal done. Will there be a contender before Thursday that tries to go get DeMar DeRozan? I think the Bulls are going to be open for those calls. We'll see if a deal happens. But DeMar DeRozan and his future, either he's going to get traded at this deadline, or they're going to look into the summer. And you either talk about a new contract, or DeMar DeRozan could walk for nothing. Those are all the scenarios at play for the Bulls.
Oh, man. Walking for nothing, Lou, I just can't imagine they allow that to happen. What would you do? You blowing this whole thing up? Everyone out?
I surely hope so. I would love to see DeMar DeRozan land in a place where he's able to be successful and get that elusive ring that he's been trying to get throughout the course of his career. I really want to see this happen. Personally, as a friend, we're going to have Super Bowl together. And so I just want to see him happy. I want to see him be somewhere, where he can have an opportunity to continue his career on the successful side of things. So I could see him going to LA, quite possibly another couple of landing spots, but I definitely don't see them allowing him to walk freely and to get nothing back from it.
No, that would be malpractice. You can't do that. We actually had games played over the weekend, guys. So we'll get to that right now. The Lakers had 2 really, really big wins over the Celtics and the Knicks back to back. They defeated the Celtics. That was, of course, on Thursday. No LeBron, no AD. Austin Reeves with the 32. And then they go into Madison Square Garden on Saturday and beat the Knicks. This time, LeBron did lead the way. This team has a funny way of just dragging you back in if you stop believing. Does this do anything for you, Chandler, as far as their overall where they're headed?
I mean, it just shows us that they can still compete. They can still beat anybody on any given night. And this Lakers Celtics game was insane. Like, the no AD, no LeBron. That says to me more about the Boston Celtics and their, lack of maturity during that game to not put them away early and end up losing that game. And honestly, it wasn't even really close. That says to me more about them. Now, when you look at the Lakers, look at all the assets and all the moves they did last year, I've always, I never worry about them because I do think they're going to make these moves. And I do think they're going to kind of be there at the end. And you see with Joel Embiid, it's 1-2 injuries away from this thing being wide open. So I do like this for the Lakers. I think they're going to catch a rhythm here. I do still think they're going to make a move. It's kind of exhausting talking about who it's going to be. We know it's not going to be Zach LaVine now, so maybe is it more now DeJounte Murray? But it's interesting because they can show you that with even without a healthy LeBron James and AD, they can go and be arguably the best team in the NBA. So they have the talent, but I think once they get over this trade deadline and over, D'Angelo Russell and all this talk, I think the team will be set. And I do think that they'll make a run. But are they enough to compete and win a championship? Who knows? But for now, I don't know. They're kind of stuck in this middle until they either make a move or don't. Then we can talk about them after the trade deadline.
Okay, can't talk about it until then. Lou, what do you think? Is there enough here?
Yeah, I agree with Chandler. What was interesting to me, Chandler, in that Boston game is without AD and LeBron, they played like a completely different basketball team. They played fast, the ball was moving, and played with a lot of energy. D'Angelo Russell was playing out of his mind. He was making every play down the court. Torian Prince was making big shots, and so they look different. I hope that they learned something from having the two big guys sitting out and then LeBron coming back in the guard and able to anchor them through a win. But no, I don't see this team being able to get to the conference finals how they're built currently. I think they're two really good wins on a long West Coast road trip, on a Grammy road trip. But I don't see them competing for a championship or getting to the finals with how they're built at this current moment.
The Grammy road trip. Shams, the latest on what they're planning to do before Thursday's deadline.
I think the Lakers going into this week, DeJounte Murray appears to be a top target. I would keep an eye on him. Brooklyn has a few players, Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, Royce O'Neal, Tyus Jones in Washington. Those are all names to keep an eye on. But the question is, do you make a move now, get rid of a first-round pick potentially, or save up those picks? You have 3 first-round picks available in the offseason if you choose to wait till the summertime. But Jared Vanderbilt, he has a serious injury in his foot. I'm told the Lakers will know for sure at some point this week whether he will be out for the season, but at minimum, he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. And that could definitely change the dynamics of this deadline, because at one thing, you could be prioritizing a wing player more going into this deadline, a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith potentially, but what other wing is out there on the market where you can have a point of attack defender, some size on the wing? I think that could be a priority for them. But those are really the scenarios to keep an eye on. And I think Vanderbilt's injury now puts an emphasis even more on getting a point of attack defender.
There are a lot of potential moves to be made. So many places. Lou, on Saturday, LeBron said that he's just not quite sure what he plans on doing with that player option. Do you believe him?
Yeah, I believe him. I think LeBron's has proven over the years how seriously he takes his business side of basketball. He's always held his cards close to his chest, always had a poker face when it comes to what move he's going to make next and where he's going to go and how he's dealt with those things. And I think this is the same. You're looking at a team who's still trying to find their footing, still trying to figure out their identity, what kind of team they're going to be, if they're going to be able to compete at the highest level. As we can see with the tweet with the hourglass, he put some apprehension out there with that. And, you also got the aspect of him saying publicly he wants to play with his son, Bronny. So I think some of that hedges on whether Bronny stays in college or whether he decides to flirt with the draft if he feels like he's prepared for that leap. And, we might see LeBron James end up somewhere a little funky for the opportunity to play with his son. And so who knows what happens, but I do believe him. He's going to play this thing out until he makes a final decision that's best suitable for LeBron James.
Interesting, Chandler. Where do you think he's going to go? What are his plans? Get in his mind.
First of all, I think this man knows everything. I think he already knows that Bronny's declaring for the draft. He probably already has a backdoor deal with the team where he's going to squad up with him. The minute you see Bronny James declare for the draft, they know who's taking him, and you know where LeBron James is going. You believe that. There's no way this dude, with the season he's having right now, is just going to declare for the draft and leave it up to luck. If he does that, he's got a guaranted deal, and that's where LeBron James is going. So I think the time will tell on what
that's called tampering.
Yeah. Call it what you want, but that's what's happening. This guy is smart. He, like Blue said, he is business savvy. He is all about his next move, and he's not going to let us know, but just know when he declares for the draft, LeBron knows
everything's organized.
Yeah.
It's all scripted. We're all waiting. Moving on, Steph Curry. Man, the Warriors, what are they? Steph Curry had 60 points, but it was a loss to the Hawks on Saturday night. Second career 60-point game. That's only 2 shy of the career high. He had 30 in the fourth in overtime. I feel like Steph's just on an island right now, fighting on his own, Lou. Is he making a statement here with this performance?
He's trying. Steph's trying. He's doing everything you can. You got to give him credit. He's trying to will this team to wins best way he knows how, and that's scoring the basketball at a high clip. And it's just not working out for those guys. And another tidbit, the Atlanta Hawks got to do better. They've given away 60 to Steph and 73 to Luka in back-to-back weeks. We got to tighten up at ATL. But if you're going to give up those type of nights, it's going to be to these type of guys. And Steph is showing that, man. He's just trying to do everything he could to get this team over the hump. It's just not happening.
By the way, hey, Lou, run the tapes back. We said the next player to have 60 points was going to be.
We did. We said it was going to be Steph. He wanted to be a part of that conversation. Absolutely.
And listen, this is what he's gonna have to do, man. This team is struggling. You look at their stats; he's averaging 28. He's having a solid year. The next leading scorer is Klay Thompson at 17.3 points a game. So there's an 11-point drop off between the leading scorer and the second leading scorer. And Klay Thompson's kind of been up and down. You see a little bit of the rise of Kuminga. Andrew Wiggins is averaging 12 points a game. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it's definitely worrisome. And you're going to have to continue to see Steph go out of his comfort zone and take 30, 35, 40 shots a game. And it's still going to result in a loss sometimes. This team is struggling, and this team needs more games like this for them to have any sort of chance. So I do feel for him in a way, but this is also the team that's been, dominating for, the last 5 or 6, 7, 8 years. So it's hard to feel bad for a guy with that many championships and that much success, but this is definitely kind of a point of his career where frustration is mounting. He's in the 12th spot right now in the Western Conference, so they just can't find ways to win. All the drama around this team, it's a different scenario that Steph Curry's really never been in this situation before in his career.
I also think it's interesting that it feels like the beginning of the season, right off the top, that Steve Kerr was talking about the offensive burden, and now he's talking about it again. The fact that Steph is basically the offense seems a bit unfair, is what Steve Kerr said. Do you agree with him, Chandler?
Yeah, but I mean, this is their team for the last couple of years, right? So I don't know what's changed. This is basically their same core roster. So what's changed? Draymond Green's still there, Klay Thompson's still there. Andrew Wiggins a couple of years ago was arguably their best player in that finals run. So not much has changed. I think a couple injuries, obviously a couple of years older. But again, this has been kind of his guys his entire career here that they've been riding with. But there's something going on here, and I think they need to make a move too, unless this season is just flush this season down and then kind of blow it up this summer. But this team's not going anywhere this year. This team's not contending this year.
Yeah, I'll get to that. Go ahead. Sorry, Lou.
No, I was just gonna say I didn't actually see this. I'm only reading it, so I don't know the context of it. But it kind of has an undertone to it by reading it. It sounds like it's challenging other guys. They got to step up and they got to get involved in what's going on. Klay Thompson, namely, being one, and Andrew Wiggins being the other. I think he's trying to tell these guys, hold your end of the bargain and help this guy out.
Yeah, it feels like nothing's changed since the beginning of the season. That's what's weird. And then you get Draymond back, of course. Since then, they're 3-4. Lou, simply, what chance are you giving them to make the playoffs?
It's hard for me to say they can't. So listen, I got this team still sneaking in that 10 spot and a play in and giving themselves a chance to possibly have a tough first round exit. So I'm looking at it. It's Utah's right there, and for lack of remembering, I don't know what other team is right there. But out of the 3 teams right there in that cluster of 10 to 12, I feel like Golden State is the most equipped one to still put a run together where they can go in a stretch of win 8 out of 10 or something like that coming out of the All-Star break. They still have the firepower to do it. They just got to find that chemistry, got to find that luck of the draw and get going.
And maybe
it is interesting because they are better than Houston and they are better than Utah. But then you look at it, Blue, it's the Lakers, the Mavericks, New Orleans, Phoenix. Like, they're not really better than any of those teams. So yeah, I think they'll sneak in and get that 10 seed and have a chance. And who knows? They can catch fire. This team can something magical can happen. And I'm never counting Steph Curry out, but it's a tall task, and it's crazy that they're in this position where they're 4 games under 500 in February. I did not see this coming.
Yeah, it seems like a very tall mountain to climb. But again, nobody wants to bet against Steph Curry. And maybe they add someone, or maybe they make a change, Shams. Is that going to happen? Are they in the market?
But when I talk to teams around the league, the question and things that they're looking at is, are the Warriors going to be in a position where they have to shed salary, where they need to get rid of guys and start just moving guys and quote unquote blow it up? And from what I'm told, there's no mandate from Joe Lacob on the front office to shed salary. We know they've got this crazy high tax bill, but there's no mandate for that. I think whatever move is going to help this team win and compete is what this front office is going to look at. And that's why they've gotten player for player deals for Wiggins, where they don't have to move a draft pick to get rid of him. But the players that are coming back, do they make sense? Are they better than Wiggins? Do they make sense for this group with Steph Curry and the rest of the roster? The Mavericks and Pacers are two teams, I'm told, that are expressing interest in Wiggins to keep an eye on. But I don't think they're going to just move guys to move guys. I think the Warriors need true reasons if they're going to trade, whether it's a Wiggins, a Klay Thompson, a Chris Paul. And Chris Paul's been out for a significant period of time. What's his value like right now at the number he's on? Klay Thompson, like Chandler just said, he's had an up and down year so far. I think he's on one of his down stretches right now. What is his true value like? But I do think the Warriors have been happy about the way Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga have essentially been unlocked together with Draymond Green. They're playing more than ever together, and that's because of Draymond Green, the way he's able to play on both sides of the ball. So I think for the Warriors right now, it's a lot still of wait and see. If a team comes out and gives a crazy offer for one of their guys, I think they have to look at it. But as of right now, they just don't have anything on the table that really moves the needle.
I'm just preparing for that.
I feel like most of the moves, Shams, you can make, like you said, it's just going to be a lateral move. Like, what can you get for Wiggins? What can you get? Like, you're not going to get anything that's going to put you over the top, especially for this season. So they're kind of in this gray area where there's not really anything out there that's going to make them all of a sudden a contender this year. The only value guy is Steph Curry, right? Maybe Kuminga. So I don't know what they can even do to better their team.
Okay, well, that was
and
depressing.
those two guys.
That's great.
Those two guys, we've been saying everyone's off, everyone's on the table except for Steph Curry. Well, you can throw a guy like Jonathan Kuminga probably in there, Brandon Podziemski in there. That's why their shelf life as far as how to make a deal and what players are actually going to be attractive. Steph Curry, Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, Trace Jackson Davis. Well, those guys are probably not guys the Warriors want to part with.
Wow, it's just a weird place to be with this Warriors team, but everything changes. I get it. We had the All-Star reserves announced over the weekend as well, so we're going to take a look at that really quickly. Eastern Conference reserves, there they are. A couple of Knicks on the list. You got Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Bam, Paolo. Chandler, biggest snub in the East for you was who?
Honestly, I think they got the East right. If we're looking at this, I think this is definitely more accurate. Right. I had Scotty Barnes in mind, which was kind of a stretch, but I saw this stat said there's two players in the NBA averaging over 28 and 5 and 1.5 blocks. And it's Scotty Barnes and Joel Embiid. I think he could have had, his number called. And then you look at Trae Young, the numbers he's putting up, and to average that many points, that many assists and not be an all-star is a little glaring. But for the most part, I think they got the Eastern Conference right. Sure, you could have thrown in a Porzingis or a Derek White, but their numbers aren't as gaudy as a Trae Young's. But I think they got this right. It's hard because every year it changes. Are you rewarding winning? Are you rewarding individual stats? But for the most part, I think they nailed this.
You agree, Lou?
Yeah, those are three names that are interchangeable, who I feel like could still get in, quite possibly with the injury exceptions. And Trae Young having a historic season, averaging 27 and 10, only second player in NBA history to have those numbers and not make an All-Star game. Like Chandler just said, Scotty Barnes is having a historic season for himself, a career high season for himself. He could have possibly gotten in, and you got Porzingis averaging 20 points on the number one team in the East. So I think two out of the three of those guys are going to get in based on injury reserves, and so I think they still make it, but you could make a case for any one of those three guys.
Let's take a look at the West, Lou. The Western Conference All-Stars looked like this: Booker, Curry, Davis, Edwards, Cat, Paul George, and Kawhi. Who was left out of this one for you, Lou?
You could make a case for either one of the Sacramento Kings. I think they got caught up in a lot of star power being had in Devin Booker, Steph Curry, and Davis. All of those guys off the bench can quite easily be all-star starters in the West. And I think they got caught up in the star power, but you can make a case for De'Aaron Fox. A number 6 Sacramento Kings team. They should at least have one guy with, the Lakers being in 12th and having two guys. They were supposed to have somebody represent them at that number 6 spot. So you can make a case for De'Aaron Fox. You also can make a case for Sabonis as well.
Yeah, I think they got this. I think they got this one wrong. I never want to take away from anybody making an all-star game, and they all deserve it, right? There's guys that have had great years, but when you look at the seedings, the Kings have to have somebody. You can't be a top 5 seed and not get somebody, especially with Fox and Sabonis, their numbers. And then I could even also argue Rudy Gobert should have made it over his own teammate, Karl Anthony Towns. When you're looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves, I think they win for 2 reasons. Because their offense, and that's because of Anthony Edwards, and that ranks 19th in the NBA. But most importantly, they're winning games because their defense. They're the number 1 defense in the NBA, and that is because Rudy Gobert. It's not because Anthony Edwards. That's not because Karl Anthony Towns. That man is the defensive player of the year, and he changes and alters the entire team look. So I do think Towns, I think we get a little caught up in the numbers, and Towns is an excellent scorer, can shoot the ball. I would have more fun watching Towns in the All-Star game than Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, there we go.
But when you're looking at the stats and you already rewarded one offensive player on that team, show the defense some love finally. No one's playing defense. Everyone's scoring all these numbers.
I was about to say, what is he going to do? Block shots in the All-Star game? Like,
no,
yes.
Again, it'll be horrific to watch. And I think the best offensive players usually make the All-Star team. But when you're looking at this team being a top team in the West and the number 1 defense, and you don't put the defensive player of the year on the All-Star team, just kind of doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, look, he gets a couple extra days of vacation. He saw the silver lining, guys. Let the man live.
And I love what he said, too. You see what he said? He said, at my Hall of Fame speech, I'll be talking about how I was snubbed on the All-Star games a couple weeks.
I like it. I'm in.
Talk your shit, Rudy.
Can we talk about the Doc Rivers situation? This is one of those moments where the rules kind of screw you because Doc Rivers named the Eastern Conference All-Star coach. He did say he intends to give the bonus in the All-Star ring to Adrian Griffin, who, of course, went 30-13 before he got fired for Doc. This rule's in place because it's the top 2 teams in the West and the East. Those are the coaches. But Boston and Missoula did it last season, so it's the next man up. Here we are. This is broken, right, Chandler? Like, this is comical that Doc Rivers is doing this. He's coached 45 minutes, and they haven't been good.
Yeah, I think they're 1-3 since he's coached the team. He's the All-Star. I mean, he knows this is ridiculous. He did the interview saying how this has got to change. There's got to be some new rule where this doesn't happen, and it's ridiculous, honestly. Like, it doesn't even make sense. I think he should send their assistant coach, whoever's still left on Griffin's staff, and he can't go and do this. Again, I think he inherited a really good team. Give it to anybody. Give it to Tibbs. Give it to JB Bickerstaff. Give it to any of these Eastern. Give it to Jamal Mosley in Orlando, who's kind of turned that team around and put excitement there. Give it to anybody other than the guy that got the team last week and is 1-3 so far. You can't do this. I don't care what the rule is, Adam Silver, change it because it doesn't make sense, and it's probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen in the NBA.
It's broken. It is broken. I have to laugh, and I like the idea of maybe giving one of the other guys, or Joe Prunty, who's an assistant coach there as well.
Shout out Prunty.
Why can't they have an emergency meeting? I mean, I don't know. Can't they have an emergency meeting, Shams? Let's get on this and just be like, all right, this rule broke the system. We need an emergency meeting to figure out who's going to coach the East in the All-Star game.
Michelle, these are the cards, though. These are the cards that were dealt when Doc decided this is what was possible. Like, I have a different perspective on this. I'll just plead the fifth.
Okay, just
I love to hear this.
You think Doc Rivers should coach this team,
You think he should coach the team?
That's part of the gig. That's part of the job.
It's
part
they
of the
did
job.
not think of this.
He doesn't even want to coach this
But
team.
listen, if I'm Doc, I want to go on vacation right now too during All-Star break. So
take a few days
that.
to like work on your plan because it's not working right now and it looks pretty rough. Shams, we appreciate you. We will see you bright and early in the morning. We'll take a quick break here. When we come back, Rasheed Wallace with thoughts on Michael Jordan. Oh, that's always good. Run it back returns.
Run it up, the running back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it.
Mike wasn't all that good of a defender. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't play defense. I'm just saying that, to me, his defense wasn't as high as most other cats at that time. Or, of course, they put him on a lot of.
I like the subtle nod to the Chiefs there. Chandler, You agree? Lou's face right now is perfect.
Well, I mean, I can't agree. The guy was all NBA defense 9 times, 3 times steal leaders, defensive player of the year. It's to get it wrong maybe once or twice or say he's overrated, fine. But the fact that this guy, he averaged over 2 steals a game for his career. You know how hard that is to do? I don't care what era it was. That is an insane stat. And so, no, I don't agree. The numbers don't lie here. This guy historically is one of the greatest defenders of all time. So to say he wasn't that good of a defender is kind of nuts. I think he's tied for the record for most defensive all NBA defense teams with 9 in his career. You can't argue that. It doesn't even make sense.
Why are we saying stuff like this? I don't get it. Fine, whatever. Let's move on because Lou just doesn't even want to talk about it. Kyrie Irving revealing his top 5 players. Here we go. No KD or LeBron. I'll start there. But he does have Anthony Edwards, SGA, Luka, Jimmy Butler, and Trae Young. What do you make of this list?
It's all about taste, what you like to watch. You know, as much as we like a lot of these guys, he probably was a little too close to the KD or LeBron thing. He probably doesn't want to watch it. He was a part of it. You know, sometimes I don't want to watch the teams that I used to play for because it's hard for me to watch those games and not be subjective to some of my comments about how things affected me personally. And so for him, looking at these other guys, they're a little younger, up and coming guys. I can see this. So, but it's all about your taste and what you like to look at.
Isn't it? Isn't that life, Lou? What do you like to look at? Chandler, Shaq said he would prefer to play with Damian Lillard rather than Steph Curry because Dame, in clutch situations, is a better standstill shooter. Do you agree?
Shaq tripping.
No, I don't agree. You're giving me layup here. I don't agree at all. I mean, I think Steph Curry he's the greatest shooter of all time. I don't care if that's coming off screens, off the dribble, standstill, whatever. Dame has hit a lot of game-winning shots, and he has proven that he's a very clutch player. But no, we're talking the basketball or anything shooting the basketball. To relation to that, I'm taking Steph Curry over anybody on the planet any day of the week.
Anything where the ball leaves your hand and goes into a basket. We're taking Steph. Okay, good. Got it. Shaq said a lot of things, Lou, because you're getting one of these too. He says KD will join the GOAT discussion if he wins a title as the bus driver. There's the bus driver thing again. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think I had this conversation with Shaq when I went to go visit him last week. But yeah, I agree. I think KD is in the GOAT discussion. I think the only reason that people even try to build an argument that he's not is obviously because of the Golden State move. But even then, he was the best player on that team for 2 years. He deserved everything that he got out of that experience. And he's a champion. However he got it, he was very much a big part of it. And so I already think he's in discussion of that. I think it's a no-brainer if he's able to get one on his own accord where he's the bus driver. So I do agree with Shaq here when it comes to public opinion. Yes.
This one's interesting though too because he went to Golden State. Yes, that was the easy route, but he was the bus driver. He was the best player on that team. Now there's a couple other bus drivers that were really drivers. I don't know why. I don't know. We're talking in riddles.
How many bus drivers?
There's only one wheel, Chandler. Now, who's the bus driver?
I'm confusing myself now. I get what he was trying to say, but he was still the best player on that team. Although that was the easiest team to go to get a championship. But I understand saying, yeah, if he goes to Detroit and win a championship, KD, then I think he's going to talk. Then he's going to be in the talks.
He's the greatest.
No, I think if he wins one, even if he wins one this year, the dynamic is different. You go to Golden State, those guys already won a championship. You go to Phoenix, Devin Booker hasn't won a championship. Bradley Beal hasn't won a championship. So if you win one here, you are very much the bus driver, and you will be credited as such when it comes to public opinion. My personal opinion, he's already in the GOAT discussion. When it comes to public opinion, he wins this one. It's a no-brainer.
Here's the good one, Chandler. Here's the doozy. Gilbert Arenas says Kevin Durant, Giannis, Jokic, and Luka Doncic are not superstars. A superstar is Steve Francis. Now, to be fair, he was saying those players don't have, quote, mojo. They don't have superstar personalities. What do you think?
they are all already better than Steve Francis was in their career. Luka could never play again and already have a better career than Steve Francis. So I don't know what this dude is smoking or what he's drinking this weekend. These guys are saying crazy shit this weekend, but
I know.
no, these guys are absolute megastars in on the biggest show on earth with all the most social media and the most endorsements and followers and fan base. All four of these guys' names I'm looking at right now are top tier, elite, Hall of Fame, multi All-Star, MVP superstars in every season they've played.
That is.
Listen, when Jokic goes home, when Luka goes home, I'm pretty sure it's nothing less than presidential 5-star red carpet status every single place they go. Now, do they have to act like it? No, they don't have to act like it. But these guys are bona fide worldwide superstars. I don't know what Gilbert was trying to. Maybe it worked. We're talking about it. Good job, Gilbert. It worked because this is foolish. Steve Francis was very much a superstar, as well as these four guys that he mentioned as well. This is a wild take, but it gets the people going. It's provocative.
It is provocative. We got another one too, Lou. You're getting a Haslam quote here. Adonis Haslam says 90% of the league could not play for the Heat. Maybe 10% could survive Heat culture. Does that seem right to you?
Yeah, probably 90% probably don't want to. I've heard horror stories about guys coming in the camp in really good shape, but because they didn't have body fat or whatever needed to get through the physical, that, they had to do it over and over again. And so could guys survive Heat culture? I'm sure. Now, do they want to? I'm not sure. But, you have to create that type of mindset when you're playing in a city like Miami where, distractions are everywhere you turn and you're trying to get championships won and accomplished in a great town. And so I understand that. But do I think 10% of the league could survive Heat culture? Like no. I think we're taking this Heat culture thing too far. I think they're well conditioned. I think they have great leadership. They always compete at a high level. You can bank on this team playing hard, but they don't go undefeated every year. It's not like it's not like they're. Go ahead, Chandler.
He's making it sound like Navy SEALs or something. Like the only 10.
They're 2 games over 500. Like, what are we talking? Like, I understand. Like Lou said, it's a great developmental organization. If I'm a Jaime Jaquez, if I'm a Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent, these guys that go late in the draft, second round picks, 2-way guys. Yes, they have this identity and this culture where, they're tough. They play defense. They're bought all in. But so are a lot of guys on the Detroit Pistons right now. They're just in a shitty situation, but they want to win. They're tough. They want to compete. So I love you, D. He's a Gator great. But no, I again, they don't go undefeated every year. They don't go to the finals every year. They're actually a pretty bad regular season team. Then they find a way to turn it on in the postseason. But come on, UD. You guys are in the 8th seed, 2 games over 500. I think a lot of the NBA could do that.
90% is a big, big number. Take a quick break here. When we come back, that man has a family.
Run it up, the running back. Run it up, running back. Run it up, the running back.
Very impressive.
Time for a little That Man Has a Family. We'll get things started with Porzingis. Well, there's what? Oh.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's all right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
This is
Give
nothing.
it a 3. I'm giving that a
His
3.
family doesn't care about this.
Jared Allen.
There it is.
Family's fine. That's better.
There
That's
it is.
yep.
How about Memphis having 8 dressed players last night?
I know. That's
was
insane.
Also, I love Jared Allen. He just could care less about anything other than just like video games and basketball.
Yeah.
I know. He's like a sweet, sweet nerd. I love it.
How has his fro stayed the same size this whole time?
Perfect.
His hair's not growing.
Perfection. Well, it is. He's just keeping it completely perfect. Oh, say that last name, Chandler. Go.
Oh,
Like
on
that.
Tucson Ibabuan?
No,
Awful.
that's not it at all.
you put some letters in there that weren't there, Chandler.
You took some letters out. You put some.
Booyama. How do you say
Booyama.
It's supposed to be Ewoma, but
Ewoma.
you know.
You have the pronunciation. Don't lie.
Yeah.
No, it's all right here, buddy. It's all right here.
This is an awful.
Jackson Davis.
Oh, like that one.
By the way,
Left-handed.
Lou, are you ready for this fun fact?
Uh-oh.
Talk to
You
me.
know Trace Jackson Davis is Dale Davis's son?
What?
Really?
I didn't know
Yes. Me neither.
that. Davis. Look at us
Trying to
putting
build
things
his own
together
legacy.
on a Monday. Here we go. Giannis.
Giannis doing Giannis things.
Someone else tried a little piece of that.
Next.
Dwight Powell tried to come over there weak side too and got a little bit.
Cleveland
I'm
should know
telling you,
better, man.
the Bucks are a mess. I'm just not buying anything about this Bucks team.
I still got them second in the East.
The East is
They're
up for
still-
grabs.
Especially now with
East is
Joel
definitely
out.
up for grabs.
It's gonna be fun. Oh, this was dude, he was a
Yeah.
monster, Anthony Davis, on Saturday night. Like,
Love to see it.
yeah, he was.
They're
That was
gonna
rough.
do a lot more of this.
The
Oh,
Garden,
sure.
man.
Yeah.
I don't love it. Okay, we get it enough. Ugh. Taking a quick break. We'll come back, wrap things up in a couple minutes. Well, this is a surprise. We got a Shams Scoops at the end of the show. I have no idea what it is, Shams. What happened?
Michelle, so All-Star Weekend is coming up in just 2 weekends, and there's obviously All-Star Saturday night, dunk contest, but then also the three-point contest. I've got some news for you. Among the commitments for the three-point contest, Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, Jalen Brunson, Lauri Markkanen, and Malik Beasley. So that's 5 contestants. There could be 3 more potentially as well, but those are the 5 so far. I'm curious what Chandler and Lou think, and also who they think should be in it along with those 5.
I like
So
this.
the event with Sabrina Ionescu and Steph Curry, they have their own separate event outside of these other guys. I think this is dope. I think they got it right. We have the star power there. We have the guys that's supposed to be there percentage wise. So I like this group of guys. This will be fun.
Dame Lillard to the moon. I got him winning it, and I love to. I mean, I hope Steph can. Will he do both? Will he do the one with Sabrina and this one? Is that possible?
It looks
I
like
don't
it.
believe so, but we will stay tuned on that, I guess.
Well, no, it looks like
I'm not
he's
picking my winner
having his
yet.
own.
That would be
Yeah,
epic, though, right, Chandler?
I'd like to see the final pool of everyone included, but as of that, those names you just named right there.
No, you picked Damian Lillard. You can't change it no matter who comes out. That's it.
Whatever.
That's it.
Steph.
All right, that does it for us today.
Malik
Guys are on
Beasley,
their way
I'm
to
going
Vegas
ATL.
today with the rain allowing. Shams, we'll see you out here soon.
I don't have a
That
pin.
does it for us. We'll be back tomorrow.
Run it back, run it up, then run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back like a running back. She known all over the